Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
I am going to open my story with a reading from the Gospel of John. Let's see, where is it? When they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Feed my lambs." He then said to him a second time, Simon, son of John, do you love me?" He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Tend my sheep." He said to him a third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was distressed that he had said to him a third time, "Do you love me?" And he said to him, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Feed my sheep. Amen, amen, I say to you, when you were younger, you used to dress yourself and go where you wanted. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will dress you and lead you to where you do not want to go." This story that I just read kind of describes my vocation in a way. I heard the call ever since I was about 4 years old. I was adopted into my Catholic family at the age of 4, and if you've met my mom, I guarantee you've heard the story. She always talks about how I always talk about wanting to be a priest, and it's just something that's always been on my mind. But from a really young age, I never really understood what God was saying to me. So, like case in point, I would always sit with my grandma at Mass, and my grandma always wanted to sit in the very back row of church, so I couldn't see anything. So one day I looked in the back, and I saw the servers, and more importantly, I saw the priest. I knew who he was because I've seen priests before. I was like, you know what? That guy gets the best view. I want to be where he is, because then I won't have to look at the behinds of everyone anymore. And, when I was younger, that's what I thought vocations was. I was like, okay, if I'm a priest, I get a better view, I don't got to sit with my grandma anymore. And it evolved. It evolved from then, thankfully. That's not the end of my story. And I'd like to think that I'm like Peter here in this gospel, because Jesus has to tell Peter 3 different times, to feed his sheep, and he says it in different ways. He says, "Feed my sheep, tend my sheep, feed my lambs." He says all these different ways, and he says, "Do you love me? Do you love me?" And Peter's just not getting it. And finally, Jesus said to him, in the Greek, Jesus used love that meant a love as in like a higher love, but Peter was understanding it as a love that meant as a friendly love. And finally, when Jesus said it that third time, Peter finally understood what he was saying. I think that's where my vocation was. I never quite understood how God was calling me. I only translated his call into various aspects of my life. And now that I've been in seminary, I know that, just as Peter is here, God is dressing me and leading me to places where I may want to go or I may not want to go. So, yeah, that's my story.